Testing. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Oh shit. Spooked. So spooky. Wait, I versus hat. Oops. Okay. Oh, what? Oh, shoot. Hello, Deve. First person here. First chat. First daily. I think it's the first time I have spoken this entire stream. Very cool, very cool. Oh my god. Thank you, Deve. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Wait, hang on. Where is it? It's over here. Poggers. Wait. Is this the full one? Oh, okay. I thought that one had more stuff for some reason. Very nicely rendered. Oh my god. I wonder what the negative space here is. Clouds? Interesting. It's like dripping and still on fire. It's like fire dripping down. There isn't a lot of blue on like the lighting. Interesting, interesting. Hair, clothing. Barely any lines. Noticeable lines, I mean. It's not as noticeable. I guess it's just how it is. Like, I mean, because the amount of colors and stuff in all of these with backgrounds, there's a lot of more intricate different colors and shades. But then if you go like white background, I guess it's just normal to have flatter colors, essentially. I guess it kind of makes sense. Right? White background is good for like showing off design. That's because you don't have any other colors coming in, so you just get the base colors. And whatever flat shadows that you might have. The blue on the wings are interesting, I think, because usually I think I see people doing like the under color just to separate out shapes, not necessarily really. I don't know like how many people like truly think that it's like that color. Unless I feel like they just do it to separate planes. But this like just kind of commits to like blue undercolor, undertone, I don't know what to call it. I don't think I've seen too many of this. Although like I guess... Nah, I've never seen it before. I've seen like Texas with like the red color underneath. But I don't remember seeing like the red affecting anything. It could be I just haven't seen enough. Okay, I swear I thought the shirt said Wagyu. I thought this said Wagyu. And I thought like that was kind of very, very gooner way of saying something. But this is a... Oh, interesting. This messy hair is truly messy. It doesn't really, It's not just messy hair. It's like the way the shapes work when very thin to to thicker to very thin. The balance is kind of throwing me off. Like, I think that's kind of like, you know, messy hair, right? Like, that kind of works. It's just that from, like, a style that has shapes that are more big and flowy like this, that kind of threw me off a bit. I guess that makes sense. I mean, you're doing messy hair, you're going against, like, the smooth and flowy and big blocks. You're kind of sending it everywhere. I don't really like the balance of shapes here, but, like, logically, it makes a lot of sense logically, thinking about it. It's like, oh, yeah. You kind of want to, you know, it's the opposite of smooth, and if you like smooth, then I guess if it goes messy, it's going to look a little bit less nice, but anyways. I never quite worked out what the... Like, these are meant to be tentacles, right? But, like, are there hair on top of it? The highlights seem to imply, like, hair up to this point, somehow it just joined into, like, a blob. Interesting. I don't know if, like, I'm not in, like, the right setup mindset because I'm looking at simpler stuff. But, like, the render doesn't really stand out to me anymore. I don't know if that means that, like, it's just because something I don't enjoy necessarily. It is just, like, kind of a mess. It's not as clean, right? Like, as some of the other ones that we've looked at. And, like, the hair or something, like, I don't know if it's just because I've seen enough of it now that it's just like, oh, okay, it falls under this bucket, I guess. But I feel like I end up looking more at the overall instead of, like, the individual parts now, a little bit more. Thinking more about, like, the overall comp and, like, the colors and the balance and the idea, rather than necessarily looking at individual pieces of rendering here and there. Which I think is a good sign, but, I mean, hopefully that's backed up by an actual ability to render some stuff. Maybe it's that recent piece with the perspective that kind of made me realize that it's maybe not that important to really tie down some of the shapes. As much as I like those things, I guess it doesn't matter as much. Dang, the texture is pretty nice. I think the only thing are the outer edges. Like, if these outer edges were tied down and these patterns were tied down, like, these noise parts could just be left as this, and it will look really good. Ooh, yeah, they're really dark shadows too. Look at that. Huh. Concept artist, huh? What? Thank you, Deve. Water. Cheers, Deve. What? Oh shit, is this? Alright, be right back. Shit. Wait a second. I forgot to make the cut. Oh, god damn it, again. I'm gonna try to do this a little bit more iteratively. So we want to be a little bit more on point with some of the things that we may or may not want to fix and try to basically iterate upon. So this is a little bit difficult in terms of organization because there's a lot of stuff here. There is I just go down one by one, I guess. So representation for, I think this one is pretty okay. So the fur representation. Meow, 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 meow. Okay. So fur representation, I think, is fine. We just go with something that is, where the seams are a little bit more controlled and then the fur is less controlled. I think that makes sense. So this one is done. This is checked out. Let me organize this a little bit. Shit. Let me put it here or something. So next we have the issue of scars. I think the scars, so far the best has been to have a flat color. Potentially not flat, I am not 100% sure. But then flat color with just like a border effect. As a constant width border effect. So let me see all the options here, right? So we have, do I double tap? Yeah, I do double tap. All scars equals too noisy. Multiply mode equals to, yeah, let's do only face once. Hello, show. Only face once. If used line art equals to dark. If you solid color equals okay-ish. Multiply mode equals to okay-ish. Yeah, I'm trying to tie this down. So we have the art that we drew from first time round, and then we did a second round. And the second round, there were some stuff that I wanted to try, and then I tried it. So now I want to make a review and see if what we've tried is better than before, right? And then as we slowly go down all of these issues, we are gonna pin them onto a specific solution. We use a specific solution for all of these issues over here, and then sorry, 1 second. And then from there, I can see if there's anything else I want to iterate on. So basically, as every time we draw one, we are trying to improve on things that we previously thought was not as good. And then we'll see. So you know what? I should do it this way so I can even track what's happening, right? So before we drew the first one, I already confirmed that, hey, we want the fur and the seams representation to be more separate. And what we've decided is this thing, and it works for now, so that's fine. And then as we went into the second one, so there's some iterations here. Let me just take a quick look here. So our scars here is too noisy. So this is red, and only green ones. This is green because we changed. Line art only is too dark, so like that. Solid color is okay-ish. I'm gonna use orange for this. Basically, we're not only like permuting through all the different ideas and trying different things to solve the same thing. I'm also keeping track of what I've tried and why it was okay or not okay. And this way, if I ever change my mind down the line, I can come back and look at this. This is just GitHub. You know, I'm just doing source control. I can come back and say, hey, oh, this was why I did that. But now I feel different. So if I feel different, what do I, you know? The stitch mark part of the design? No, the stitch mark is because she's a stuffed animal. She's a plushie in this. So you can see like this like a tag. Stitch marks are like the plush animal tag, or like the stitching of like the fabric. So it's just part of the design. In this mode, anyways. I probably do like a lot of different RIAs down the line. So this is the current accepted solution. I think that is fine. Is that still furry? No, yeah, in general. Like as in, like, if you look at this, right? The fact that she has the paws over here, this two-tone, excuse me, the two-tone fur, and the counter shading. The counter shading is where the underbelly is lighter like this. All of these are all very furry concepts. And also the fact that she's a plushie makes it even more niche of a thing, actually. You wouldn't really see too much of this, even in the furry fandom. This is pretty niche. At least as far as I know. Oh my god. My chest is pretty tight today. I'm having issues breathing. Leaning over too much. So solid plus outline, which would confirm this sequence as true. Machi Pry. Wait, what's the difference between these two? Are these the same? Am I drunk? Are they not the same? I think one of these is meant to be used as a blush reference. I think I might have moved something from there over here. I don't need that. So this is main target. This is this is that. We're separating these out so we can see them. So this is line art is too dark. Everything is too much. So I'm going to do it in order here. Yeah, it is very nice, isn't it? Like, I do like that a lot. It gives it a lot more character. And the important thing is, actually there's one more step to this, is that if you look at the original iteration here, the original iteration has these very evenly spaced strokes. And you can also see the brush stroke itself is kind of round, like it's kind of even. Whereas the newer version has less evenness, and I'm actively merging some of the shapes as well. So it makes it just a little bit more, like, more random and more lively, because the whole point of adding it is to have more personality, right? The more variation there is, the more personality there is. So This one is another one that is solved. I'm gonna put out a solved solution, solved problems over here. And of course, like, even if it's solved, you know, down the line I might come back and iterate on it, but for now it is considered solved. Also, if you're wondering why there are certain like nonsense like BB, it's because like over the years as I'm drawing, I only have one hand that can reach the keyboard. So sometimes when I type layer names, I just simplify it. So blush, I just call it BB. Because B, what is B used for? I have no idea, but like it's at some point down the line I changed it. I just made it BB. So now it's just BB now. That's what this is. So blush, the blush problem was simple as well. It's very simple actually. It's the same as the scar, but essentially it's either there's only two things to permute. So border or no border. That's the first thing. The second thing is the shape of it itself. Shape, we have multiple options. We have square brush. This is not that serious, you know, you don't have to do this. Circle, squiggle. How do you spell squiggle? Squiggle, squiggly lines, and then hatching, right? So this is the pretty standard stuff. Border, no border. I'm pretty sure we go border just because there's more impact. Like everything about this style is about having this line holding things together. Yeah, it's a shorthand for myself. We're gonna see more shorthands. Like I have EW for eye white. The white part of the eye, which is just ew. You'll see a lot of the ones for eyes. And then like recently I figured that I probably need one more for the fur, like the one that you were just talking about. I'll call it FF. So that's great. Down the line all my nonsense is gonna look stupid. No border isn't strictly not good though. It is okay-ish. No border is fine because the color itself is pretty contrasty. So actually, looking at the ones that we have, I think, yeah, I mean, the color specifically depends on like the whole balance and stuff, but I do prefer higher contrast. Where the hell is it? I didn't name the layer this time. Where is it? BB, yeah, BB over here. I'm gonna lower the thing up a sec. But this thing needs to balance out, so needs to be a bit darker. Yeah. Forfeit. The shape. I think squiggles are a little bit too noisy. Like, we have so many options. We can do two lines like this. I've seen that. This, pretty standard, you know. Very quick, rough. We have squiggles like these. These are not too special, I think. They're the same thing, but without a border. A different type of circle. This one is also kind of interesting. This one actually is viable, but this one needs, I think, to pair with a messier set of line art in general. I think this one here, it's probably good if we can emulate this kind of line art, where it's just a lot of doubled up lines. And then everything will come together really nicely that way. But in the meantime, it's just a yeah, it's just a thing for now. Circle. Let me call this solid circle, and then I'm gonna call it squiggly circle. No one, I'm not gonna know what I'm talking about, by the way, down the line. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that's gonna forget, but square brush is fine. Square brush is green light. I don't know, like green tend to suggest that that is the best, but not necessarily. Did I even try a solid circle? Solid circle is fine too, honestly. Like solid circle is fine. Squiggly lines are not good just because it's too noisy. It is kind of weird how that is the case for me, because like we have all these noise over here. What's wrong with adding just a little bit more, right? I guess, but apparently I don't like it. Maybe not so red, you know, like maybe like a little bit orange. It's hard to say right now. I can't quite tell. I'm so glad I'm not colorblind. I mean, for the obvious reasons that we can draw, right? But also because even if I don't draw, like color as a sort of sorting thing is very helpful. Like look at that. We can take a quick glance. I know exactly where everything I need to know is. I know what is accepted, what's not accepted. What is this? Fabric texture? Fabric texture is really hard because this fabric that she has is, strictly speaking, like covered with fur, right? So it's either you see the fur or you see the fabric itself. But there is one part, is the eyes. So the eyes are interesting because if the eyes are embroidered, if you ever look at embroidery, you get these like sort of patterns going across because it's individual strands of thread, right? So this is possible, but we have to iterate it. Actually, we can do it now. So embroidery for eyes. Do that, and also oops. So fabric itself. Can see since fur pile. So this is set. This we can iterate now, and then we can find out. So composition design, this is actually what this is over here. This one is actually just, you know, we just have to accumulate over time, right? So right now we have like, I'm gonna call it the make noise lines. I'm just gonna do it like this. Alright, that's fine, right? That's fine. This is less of yes or no, it's just compositionally dependent on what's happening. There's also the fact that the colors are kind of different this time. But I think I'm just going to leave that up to my own discretion every time. It's kind of hard to pin it down like exactly what you want. So you might just go around. Eye versus hair, I think I sorted... this one is interesting too. So what happens when the hair covers the eyes, right? Previously I did it so that it's 50%. So the thing takes precedence, in a sense, right? The hair is still visible over it. But the thing I don't like about this is that the eye lines here, they lose a lot of impact. Part of it is because I actually colored it over here and I didn't color it over here. But I actually kind of like it not being colored because you can see that very clearly, regardless of all the nonsense that's happening, all the colors and gradients. The eyes are always there staring at you, which I think is a big important thing. So I'm going to prioritize eye over hair, I think. It is kind of nice to be able to see that though. So I don't know. I think it is eye first. No. I think it is eye first. I am going to pull one more sequence out here. So option 1 will be colored black. Much more impact versus this one, which is also fine. But it's situationally dependent. Some of these color things are very situationally dependent. It's just about having enough impact to be visible. But as long as it's, you know, you can see it and it feels good, then it's fine. Eyes are visible, especially in a... Yeah, like, I have a... Yeah. Okay, the reason why I stopped is because I like this for a reason that you can kind of see the what's it called? The thickness of this part, right? Like think of it like this, right? Like the whole point, the big appeal of being a plushie is to be soft and not have this idea of bones and this and that. Like the material and the thing that we're trying to convey is something that's soft. But if you don't have like render, if you don't have all these round shapes in here being visible, then you don't feel the thickness of it. And if you don't feel the thickness of it, it's like having a pillow that's completely flat, you know, it doesn't feel very soft. So ideally we show as much of this as possible. But you know, this is just one very tiny area. We have all of the rest of the canvas to work with. So there's no need to really pin this part down necessarily. I like that one in particular because I could see it, but then like even if you can't see it here, I could see it over here, you know, like it's fine. We have other areas to see. I'm not gonna worry too much about that. Fabric texture, right, we can deal with that later. Other tech design, this is accumulation. eye versus hair. So hair over eyes plus 50% opacity. Eyes over hair, which I think is, again, better, higher impact. But not to say that this is not good. This, once again, this, I think, situationally dependent. Was her eyes always? Yes, her eyes are always different colors, and strictly speaking, her left eye, the one that's red over here, can be any color. You can put it any color you want, because that's, you know, in the original design, that is just a fake eye. She's not one of those characters where she has two eye colors because she's heterochromia. It's because one of the eyes is not real. So you can technically use any color and any pattern in it. It's part of it's in her notes for her design over here. So it's meant to be digital and mechanical. It can be any color or pattern. Usually I put an X in there. And the X is there is to match design with myself for story reasons. And this and that, but yeah. And then what else is there? So issue of tags. So tags is interesting. Tags is still pending. Yeah, it's a Catwoman from, I remember that. The most important thing about the tag is what is the point of the tag. Oh shit. So this one, it would just, we have to wait a little bit because I'm waiting for something. I'm waiting for inspiration for this. The biggest point of having the tags is just in case that some of the seams and stuff is not clear enough yet to convey that she is a plushie instead of just like a normal furry character. And that means that the tag is ideally best always on the canvas, right? So having one on the ear and having one on the tail makes it so that it's pretty much always visible no matter what pose. Actually, regardless, I think if it's probably just here. Once counter argument is that it's too many equals lower value. I don't know what value we're talking about here. It just feels kind of spammy. It's what it feels like. So we'll wait on that. Soft edges. So this one is interesting. This is a rendering thing. Sometimes my screenshots are not the best, but I'm going to try and only take some weird screenshots here because it's sort of it's a cute angle actually, but so that I don't get focused on the wrong thing. Right now I can see that it's not meant to be the eyes or the ears or the hair or anything like that. It's just purely on render. So soft edges, we have two options, right? So we have either airbrush, which I think is not good. It's too smooth. There's nothing wrong with it being smooth though. The whole point of a soft edge is to be smooth, right? That's the point of it. So it's kind of stupid saying that it's too smooth and that's it's a problem. But the interesting thing is that like you can emulate soft edges with textures like these, because at a distance it feels softer than a singular hard edge. So I think this is what we want to go with. We might just need a better brush though. Alright, so it depends. See, this is what the stream is more about. Like, I think that actually sort of coming in and being like, hey, this is what we're trying to achieve, and therefore the style should reflect this objective by being X, Y, and Z. And then we slowly tie it down this way. So there's a lot more design choice being made and this and that, so it's a bit more on point. But render texture, render shadow, this one is interesting. We're already talking about this, but then I was doing this today, right? And there are certain poses where it's kind of weird. So here's my line of thought, right? I want to draw something simple and quick, so no rendering is the fastest way because we focus purely on lines and conveying like a story and idea through the lines. That's the easiest and most enjoyable for me. However, as long as we're putting colors in, there are cases where the same color is used for a front and back plane, right? Like, so for example, the back of the hair versus the front part of the hair. So you want some amount of rendering here so that you can separate the two planes out. So that was my thought process. We don't have to do very sort of physically consistent, reality conforming sort of renders, right? Just enough to sort of separate certain planes out, right? Otherwise it looks kind of flat like this. And even this has gradients. You can see like how the top of the hair is darker than the bottom. So there is still kind of separation there. But regardless, let's say we go with just the flat one. And this is an example right now on screen, right? We have the back part that is darker, the front part that is lighter. You can see just like the planes up. And it highlights the body here pretty well, right? Because otherwise this would have been the same brown over here. However, depending on the pose, I realized today that, let's say for example, I did the same thing here. Should I have only painted the hair here then? Right? And then leave the legs and everything just in the light? I could do that, you know, I've already decided that we don't have to conform to reality. But the problem is that if I did do that, then the white part of the legs and the white part of the arm would now start to conflict yet again. So now there's a choice, right? I could just accept that thing as a trade-off, right? We have the body being separated from the hair. That is one possible solution. Or I can just render more, right? Or rely on other ways to do it. Like, see, the lines themselves are also kind of separate. Okay, this is not done correctly, but... And this and that, right? As well as this tail over here, you can see how this is entirely taken out, even though it's still part of the same brown. It's still part of the back plane, so to speak, right? But it's even backward plane. So I guess, like, once we're talking about this right now, the render objective is simply to convey the form, right? Okay, rendering is about conveying form, but we don't want to convey that much form. We don't want to spend that much effort. So the minimum amount of effort is just separating planes. So and if we want to separate planes, then there are situations where we might need more than one color. So if we follow the principle of separating planes, then I think that helps guide us sort of render and decide if there's too much work or too little work. So this is, up here is more about like sort of looking for references. I think the actual decision making and the arguments and this and that, I think we'll just do it at the bottom here. I'm just going to do it over here, sort of, so rendering. So rendering effort, right? Render is to show form, but more render equals more time. So minimal amount of render to make work, which means this would be to show planes, to show some basic roundness. I am specifically pinning to the roundness because I want it to look soft, right? So we want stuff that are round. I don't really care if it's necessarily there to show the actual form, right? I'm not gonna bother with these parts here because it adds a lot of effort and doesn't help too much. But these ones with the hands here, I think that's worth the time. Show plane, show some basic roundness, and then also to show some textures, right? But specifically, I think textures are being dealt with already over here. Oh no, but this is a different representation, actually. It's kind of interesting. There's going to be some overlaps here, which is going to be a little bit annoying to deal with. As there's more and more and more and more, it becomes a little bit difficult to like keep track of where everything is. I think we might want to sort of start grouping these a little bit. So I'm going to have these two grouped together. I've been wanting to group stuff, but I was grouping things aggressively before, and it kind of got very annoying because it's just black box and a black box and a black box, and it gets really crazy. So I guess this is... ah, shit, I actually have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'll put this in here too. And then this is more about render, right? So these two are about render together over here. And then also over here, this is our new render effort. And I would like to point out... actually, it's kind of hard to point that out because I don't have the things ready anymore, but... what made me do what exactly? The development for this... okay, I'll just take that as a general. What made me do what I'm doing right now, right? Like, I think that's a valid question. So, where should I start, right? Oh, you mean like why a plushie in specifically? Oh, that's what. Oh, okay, interesting. That is interesting. I'm not sure. I think okay, so. Remember when I was saying like how I have like a lot of different other accounts in the past? Those, I think it came from one of those, I think. Because in the past I did some exploration as well. And I guess like, so you know how I work is that I come out, I do a bunch of things, right? You always see me writing shit, but you never see me reading anything. It's because I'm writing it to have my thoughts on paper. And then as I'm doing that thing, I am letting myself like go through that information again. And if the information is interesting, it will stay with me over time. And everything else I kind of forget. It's the same thing as this. I think at some point in time in the past, I think I did some kind of sort of figuring out what I want to draw. And as you can tell right now, even right now, I'm not 100% sure what that is. But in the past, with my limited skill, it's just basically sketches. And then of all the things that I have tried, I think this is the one that kind of stuck. I remember. It kind of fits her. I mean, if you think about it, it kind of fits, maybe. Because her sort of underlying concept, like how Ria helped me, is just by being present. Just by having a comforting presence. Kind of like a stuffed animal, it just kind of sits there, but like... kind of stoic, you know, not a lot of things happening. Kind of just a presence that is there. A comforting presence. I think it's fitting. And it's also a little bit more unique than just drawing like a normal furry version of her. Which I think eventually we'll do anyways. But yeah, I don't fully remember. This is just like an idea that's been in the back of my mind for quite a while. I've never really executed on it until now. Because I always thought like this is not the main thing that I should be doing. We should be doing more of this, you know, like we should be pushing the limits of art. If I start doing stuff like this, at least my old consensus, my old idea was that like if you do like simple rendering, you never get to push the limits of your skills because you're only doing like, say for example, a binary like this, a binary setup where there's one light shape and one shadow shape. You will never get into like, say, oh, like all these different sort of bounce light, local lights, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think recently it's just because I'm a little bit too tired, too burnt out. And then I figured that it'd be nice. So it was too burnt out and I started doing random sketches. And then this thing just kind of surfaced naturally. One day I think I sat down on the weekends. Yeah, I sat down on the weekends and I did a sketch. I did this sketch. Where is it? I did this sketch by myself. And I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, it would be nice to kind of go back to the old concept of having like a simpler style that is fast and effective, and you can just do sketches when I'm tired, you know. Because we did sketches before, and yeah, and those sketches too, like they were quite difficult to render. Actually, I have like a whole file of those things. So yeah, like there's just like multiple things. Your question itself, I do not know the answer. And then as for why now and why we're doing this now is primarily just because I've been a little bit too bonked in the head. Where is my sketch thing? Where did I put it? God damn it, every time. Huh. Oh, I know where it is. Ah, okay. I have everything everywhere. Okay, it's over here. Yeah, I have like all the sketches that we've done over the years. Sorry, over the years. Over the 1.5 year. There's a lot of these. But yeah, some of these sketches, most of these sketches rather, they never went anywhere just because I don't have like a set, solid sort of rendering sequence to go through. And then whenever I step into that sort of render sequence, I get too psyched out. I'm like, holy shit, this is so hard again, right? And then you can see like some older concepts of this. Although this is different. And I think the ones that we did manage to render as well, I wasn't very satisfied. Where is it? Do I not have it here? Maybe I don't have it here. There are quite a few abandoned ones too, like these ones here. Oh no, not this. Oh, I don't have that one here. Never mind. Anyway, this is also like a huge mess here I haven't sorted through yet. Yeah, this one's kind of nice too. Anyways, I think I strayed quite far away from what you were asking. I'm just wondering. Yeah, part of this is also because of the commission that I'm trying to get. I am trying to get a plushie of her made, but we're having some issues with the maker being a little bit MIA, I think, because something's happened in their life, and they're dealing with that. So I'm still waiting on that. But yeah, it's interesting. Things just kind of happens most of the time. But anyways, we have this line here. Right, I'm just going through this sequence here, right? Rendering is to show form, but more renderer goes for more time. Okay, so actually this is interesting. The way I'm writing this is getting too packed. We instead of doing this, we should be doing the counters, I think. It's what we shouldn't be doing with the render. Although these are definitely the main reasons, right? Need for more colors. This is strictly speaking increasing complexity, which we don't want to avoid. But it's still possible. It just depends. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that one maybe I'll just hang on to it. Actually, the last thing I need to write is just looking at this in general, how I feel about it. It wasn't entirely new idea. No, it's not. Not a new idea for sure. Yeah, over the years, for sure. In some ways, if you think about it, it's kind of natural. Because, well, I suppose it depends on people's take on it, right? So, here's one way to think about it. If you have a character and you want to bring them to life, right? This definition of bringing to life is really hard to define, right? Like it really depends from person to person. My always go-to example is Hatsune Miku, right? Being alive is like the thing, like the character can do things without people making her do it explicitly. Obviously, that's never gonna happen. But like in Hatsune Miku's case, from the perspective of the original designer, they're not doing anything, but the character just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing, right? Because there are so many people contributing to this idea. That's one way of thinking of the character being alive. Another way is to just having a story for the character, and then people would remember the story, they resonate with the story, they relate to the story and the character, and in that way the character is alive because it's in people's hearts and it's changing people's lives actively because it's having some real life impact. That's one way of being alive. But none of these things have physical form. So if you talk about physical form is where all the other stuff comes in. Like people have body pillows, they have figures, right? They have plushies and all these different things. So it's just like different ways of bringing the character to life. And I think as far as I'm concerned, we're probably going down every single path, if possible. Right? We'll be making merch, but then we also want to write a story. But then I'm also hoping that I can create something that people can contribute to and then just make use of the character and maybe help breathe life into her some other way without my sort of direct involvement. But of course, easier said than done, you know. But it starts by saying it, you know. First you have a thought, and then the thought becomes words, and then when the words become action, and the action leads to actually some final result. That's how it works. So we're still at the beginning stages, but regardless, in some way, if you think about it, it's pretty natural to arrive at this conclusion. But obviously, you know, like this is only me saying it after we've been here, after we've reached this point. And also you have to factor in the fact that like my roots are more in furry, like sort of art and characters, right? So if you combine like anime character, then more furry stuff. Yeah, and then like, yeah, I mean like furry stuff is more about being like fuzzy and soft and stuff like that. Having figures and like stuff doesn't really quite capture it. Yeah, maybe that's why. I think this is more natural, I think. Given the circumstances and all these different different elements to the equation, I guess it's a natural conclusion to arrive to. I don't know if this is necessarily even the end point. We might go somewhere else from this. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. What did I not like about this? I kind of forgot. Because we fixed a lot of it. I think like the line colors could be a little bit more done a little bit more like consistently, perhaps. Like there should be some kind of rule for like the lines. I mean, like, you know, you just kind of follow local color or what the intention of the local area is, I suppose. But it's just that I might want to check this so that I don't forget things. Like I forgot about the years over here. I think it's a roundabout way of me saying I forgot stuff. Yeah, I mean, everything else is kind of fine. Like, there isn't anything like necessarily wrong about this already. It just looked a little bit simple, right? It just feels a little simple, which is kind of what we want. But I think it's gonna be like a back and forth. I'm gonna feel like, hey, this is too simple, I do some stuff, and then, hey, this is too much, let's simplify it. And then we try to iterate our way through this. You could also just do this subconsciously, right? Like, I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily go to this extent. You would just draw, and then what you have, you enjoy it, you know, until you stop enjoying it. And then the next time you draw, you just kind of, hey, what did I not like last time again? Oh yeah, you know, let me change this. But then they might forget some other things, you know. So it's a bit of a back and forth. But over time, you refine your process, and all the stuff that you like stays, right? And then that will be one way of doing it. But I think as long as we're doing the stream like this, I can be a little bit more hands-on, so to speak. Somewhere here. Hands-on is always better, right? Active learning is always a little bit more efficient just because you're actively trying to notice patterns and be mindful of certain things. It just takes more effort. There's a trade-off that way. Like, you see this line here could be that. That's it. It would be nice to be able to like tie down exactly what colors to use, like what to do, but it's not possible because like depending on the complex, like the posing, the all these different things, the comp primarily, like you might have different colors. I think colors is the hardest thing to tie down. I have done this many times. You guys haven't seen it because it's all before streams where I would come out with a palette. I'm like, yeah, this looks great, right? I'm not gonna put every single color that I've used onto this palette, onto this layer, and then I'm gonna use it every time. But then pretty much the next time I use it, I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna work because it's not possible to keep all the colors exactly the same while wanting to do something slightly different. Like if you do a different pose or different clothing, your color balance is gonna be off again. So you have to kind of just rely on your sense of it. I noticed something that I like. Some pictures, but I can't tell exactly why does this happen to me. I don't think it's happened to me that often anymore. I probably in the past, I can't remember if I'm being honest. I know it's happened maybe 1 or twice on stream where I felt like something was interesting, but I couldn't figure out why. Not necessarily that I like it, right? It's just interesting. But then nowadays, because I spend so much time like sitting down thinking about all these different things, okay, how do I say this? Sure. I think at the end of the day, it's just that if you're aware of all the different ways of doing certain effects, or all the different ways of layering stuff, all the different ideas that artists has, then none of those, you will never be confused because you just break the picture down when you look at it. You think about the colors that's being used. You think about how, you know, colors, are they all saturated? Are they all desaturated? Is it only the light that's saturated? Or is it only the shadow that's saturated? And then which one's warm, which one's cold, you know? What area of the screen is warm, what area of the screen is cold? This is just color, right? And then you can go into the lines and then, hey, are the lines noticeable? Are they thick? Are they thin? Are there line weights? Are there textures? Same thing for the render, you know? Are the shapes round? Are the shapes sharp with angular stuff? Are there textures? Are there soft edges, hard edges, textured edges? Big shapes, small shapes, very broken detail, or very big general ideas, you know? Like all of these things, you lay it out clearly, and immediately, hello the virus, immediately you can start to tell, like, hey, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that. And then if you have a couple of more things, then it becomes a little bit easier to tell. Composition, actually that's interesting. Actually, composition is pretty hard to break down sometimes. That is interesting. I think composition is yeah, a composition you can kind of still tell from like the stuff that you break into. It's just that you have to combine multiple elements together. It's no longer just one element, it's by multiple elements. So if you have like a lot of maybe like it's very nicely balanced with saturated areas and desaturated areas, then it is about the relative ratios of those areas, I suppose. But yeah, it gets very complicated if you think of it like that, I suppose. So yeah, if you break it down, you can't really tell still. Maybe it is just comp. You can try to maybe think in your mind, you know, try to imagine what would happen if you make one area bigger or one area more blue or something, and see if you still like it, you know. You can do like A/B testing and then try to figure out that way. That is also possible. How should I do this? Here, give me a second. I am trying to figure out what's the best way to denote the fact that one line is from the previous. So the idea here is to have drawn something, right? We made all these conscious decisions and this and that. We've drawn something, and I still have some comments, right? And then from these comments, I try to address them in the next one, and then I want to make sure that, hey, this comment, this is how I addressed it. Do I like the way I addressed it? If yes, then so be it, you know. So line's kind of boring. Add the textures, the lines. Sketch lines, but with and I like it, so I'm going to mark it as done. So the next time I don't have to worry about this anymore. If you have to make an illustration, like what element would you use in that piece? Color, right? Like, I say in general, color, which is value, which is that. I guess it's value, strictly speaking. Because you're strictly just talking about bright. We're not talking about necessarily vibrant. We're not necessarily talking about very colorful. Right? Vibrant, like very saturated, would suggest something a little bit more saturated. Whereas something that is more vibrant might suggest there's a lot of different hues like this. But if you're just talking about like bright, right? The idea of bright, at least for me, I'm not 100% sure if this is what you're feeling, but is using not just like lighter colors, but having your value sort of spread be a little bit more skewed towards the brighter side, if that makes sense. So maybe like if I do this with this, and then oh shit. So you have like the bright stuff. Like let's say this is the value scale, right? You're basically trying to skew yourself to use this part of the area. Because a normal picture might have a normal distribution like this. Or it might be like this, right? But if you want bright, you need to stay on this side. And then like the vibes that you're getting is the kind of vibes that I don't like, which is kind of like what this is like, where you kind of feel like you can't really see very clearly, right? That if you can't see very clearly, that feeling is a feeling of low contrast. It could be low value, saturation, or hue contrast, but it's a low contrast. And then you make sure your values are bright. That would give you that bright feeling. It will feel like this. If this is what I mean by bright. I was thinking about her stitches, but then again, I think it'll be too tacky or noisy. Yeah, because strictly speaking, in this body, in this form, her scars are just cuts, right? Which would be no different from having like an arm attached, right? It would just be seams. So the scars that is on her nose would be the same as all the other lines over here. But what I'm thinking is that the virus is that because I don't want to give her full set of scars anyways, my argument is going to just be maybe in her original body with the original scars, it would have been like, you know, what we were talking about as stitches directly. But because it was like too worn out, maybe she got like a new body because it's like a plushie. Why not just swap a body? Then we would just swap out everything, right? And then maybe like the face was replaced with this kind of representation to keep some of that original personality and history so that she doesn't lose it, right? So we don't get like the ship of Theseus, or I don't know what that Greek analogy is, right? We don't get the case where everything is replaced entirely. Her head is still the same, maybe, but it's being you keep some elements so that her history and her personality is still kind of representative. Like it's still it's the same idea as this thing on her head, right? If you think about it, like her hair is a lot straighter than before, and the reason is because it's really hard to make it's really hard to make a plushie like hair that has like a lot of different spike, right? You tend to make it. How do I say this? Oh my, this is I spent a lot of time thinking about this, right? If you want to make messy hair, you need a lot of spikes. How are you going to place the spikes? If you place them symmetrically, it's not a representative of her character because it's meant to be random, right? But if you place it randomly, it's a fixed random. It's not a true random. Every time you change an angle or something, the same spikes are in the same place. So it's no longer random. Now, it's not to say that I cannot just draw them differently every time. I am taking that liberty, actually. You're going to see slightly different proportions. You're going to see slightly different tails and this and that, right? But I figured that more spikes, more trouble, more work. Why not just have everything sort of be a little bit more abstract? So in this case, her messy hair is represented by the fur and represented by this one sort of pigtail kind of setup, where it sort of basically makes the idea alive, but then like not. Anyways, so same thing for the nose scar as well, right? I forgot to draw the cut in the ear. I need to remember to do that. I'm gonna do it now like this. So I'll go in and fix that. But who's the artist for those? Yeah, sorry, show. I will give them to you. Where'd it go? It's over here. Sorry, artist for who? Just the really bright ones here. This one here. I think you probably like these. The other ones are like more furry coded. I don't think you mind anyways, but 0126. You know what? I could have just left the screen here because you could have entered it if you wanted, but you have to scroll down to look for the art, but I don't think you have to scroll too far because I didn't bother going too far because I'm lazy. But yeah. Anyways, I'm actually gonna ungroup these guys now because I think because of these points being made and the changes being made, I would like the position of these things to be in the right spot. But random is more idealized than true random. They say they made it less random to feel random. Oh, I see. Interesting. Right, so you never have the same song coming up twice too frequently. Right, I remember hearing about that. But yeah, I'm trying to tie this down as much as I can, so that moving forwards, you know, I know I made a conscious effort. I did my best. I think this is what it means to me to do my best, is to be very, very thorough. Because otherwise, I cannot really say that I did my best now, can I? Like, it feels like I just kind of slacked off. That's what it feels like. But it is a very tiring way to work. Like, I have to be very thorough to convince myself that it's okay, that we've done everything we could. But at least for anything related to her, I don't think I mind. I don't think we would have an issue with effort. We do everything we can, right? So this was decided at this point here. These guys over here, we did a lot more work. So for example, add the texture. I'm gonna move these guys out for now, and now I want to put them in the right spot here. Shit. Alright, you come here. Okay. I am weird. Like, pretty much on all the spectrums, you can always find me somewhere in the middle. I'm never sort of fully committed on one side or the other. Like, for me, like, if you look at this, right, it's kind of weird. If you do the furry spectrum thing, you have normal anime girls, right? We're never there. We're always at least with the years, which is one step already. And then you will go one more step. Usually people do one more step, and then it's where the colors come in. So it will look like this. This would be the third step, right? So you have normal anime girl, you have the usual camel mimi, and then you start to have the two-tone fur, where the body becomes like the furry color. And then the next step is where you have people, like characters that are maybe more on this kind of scale for me. Of course, like, this is a little bit more than what we have, because you start having like animalistic sort of hands and stuff. But for me, it's like this step where you start losing hair, because animals don't really have like hair like human like that. So when you start losing hair like this is where I'm thinking of the... Actually, we can build the thing now if you want. I think I have enough stuff over here to build the spectrum here. Let me build it here. Actually, let's just build it here. Oh, shit. Did you know just what? Did you realize what just happened, by the way? I pasted the link that I pasted in chat, and it just started putting images from like the freaking Twitter page. That's kind of insane, dude. That is kind of insane, dude. But regardless, let me build the thing real quick. I think eventually we will have Ria in everything. That's the problem with me, is that I cannot fully commit to one thing, right? So we start having this issue where I want to do everything. It's the same as what I'm doing now. I want to be in control of everything to say that I've did my best. Which means inherently we're going to undertake pretty much everything. Right? So you have like the non-furry. You have like the non-furry but wearing and pretending to be furry. Maybe like fake ears and fake hands. And then you have like the usual of what we have. Which is just furry-esque character with animal features, right? But they're not actually animals yet. And then you start losing colors, which are... Oh shit, it's so hard to find. I don't know if I have the losing. So the thing that I like is quite rare sometimes to find, which is just like very partial. I've had this problem a few times before where I couldn't find people that I am sort of the same with. Like, it's somewhere here, I think. It's somewhere here. Where it's like the more Eastern style furry, where you have the nose and you have hair. And then like, if you go even more Eastern furry, you start losing hair, which is really funny to say. But you start going into this kind of vibes, where you start having like this longer nose, and then you start losing hair. So losing hair, actually this is a little bit, you can see it's not a flat scale for sure. It is not easy to have it on the flat scale. And then you start getting into more of these kind of, where your legs and your hands, like everything starts to become more and more deformed a little bit. So losing a pharaoh. Pharaoh for me strictly means for quadruped, so they have to be on all fours. As long as they're on two legs, they're called anthro. At least this is the tagging system for some of the furry sites. This one is interesting, but it's somewhere here too. Somewhere here-ish. We don't have quadrupeds here because it's a while, I think, since I looked at those arts. Do we have quadrupeds here? I don't think I put a single one here. Oh yeah, there's also these furries, like these ones, where you start losing the human legs. Like here is where you lose human legs. Here is still human legs, right? You can see like they're walking on like straight-ish legs, and they're using this is what you call plantigrade, right? The entire foot is down. Animals walk on their toes. More like this. It's like what they call the digitigrade, because digits. So it's over here. Like you see, these are a digitigrade slightly, but their legs are still kind of straight. Whereas over here you have the... Oh, actually, this is just maybe thick. Actually, never mind. In that case, these guys are a little bit further because they start to have that animal curve. Oh yeah, no, it's not like I have a lot of people to talk to this about, but I do think about this quite a bit because people argue about this all the time. People argue about where is the furry line being... Some people gatekeep like fucking insane. Like, I don't know what's their problem, but they gatekeep a lot. That one's accounted for, I think. I think for completion, we should probably grab like a quadruped in here. Yeah, you have these ones here as well. These ones are kind of represented as the same as this. Oh yeah, now we get into these, right? Yeah, of course, Lucario, right? Like all these Pokemons. Also, actually no, this is still bipedal. We don't have I don't have the four-legged ones over here. But yeah, you start to get into like the very Eastern kimono style. Some people draw the line at that. like you have to be like this, where you lose human features pretty much. Although this is still a very human set of shoulders. If you look at like animals, like dogs, they don't have shoulders. Their hands cannot, like the front paws cannot go to the side. They cannot open up like how we do, like, you know, open up our arms to park someone. They can't do that. They only go up and down. So when you have shoulders like that, it's still a human feature, but yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna bring like Glaceon in or something, like, you know, this is the final level. Pretty much just like that. This will be the skill, I think. It's kind of hard to see, but human with fake stuff, human with, well, quote unquote real stuff, I suppose. And then you start losing the human skin tone, and you start getting fur in place. You start losing hair, right? You start losing hair and you start walking on toes, and you start having a long nose. And you start having like funny looking hands. Funny looking hands, funny looking feet, right? No more hair again. And then like just like literally like Pokemon with 2 legs, on 2 legs. And then why is this up here? I can just put it here. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what this is necessarily. It's kind of similar. I think maybe this is a bit confusing in the skill. At least for me, it's slightly confusing. But thereabouts. Even less human features now. Possibly working on 4 legs. And then you have 4 legs. And then that's the whole skill, I think. Verify isn't that Pokemon yet for me. Category levels on just me communication down piercement division though specification. I like being clear. So I do also have my own sort of lines. I am part of the problem. But my line is drawn here. Anything on this side, once you start losing skin, is where I consider is furry. Entire skill for Rio. It could be interesting, right? We can have a skill. We can make a skill for ourselves. I mean, like, honestly, we just need one more, right? We just need the quadruplet, because we have the usual version of her, then we have this version of her. Oh, we have this version as well. Right? And then we have the specialized version, the furry version of her. And then we just make like a wolf version of her, and then we're done. Kind of. I'm not gonna make her lose hair. I don't want a form where she has no hair. I think that's kind of cursed. You're not doing that for sure. And then with hair in this form, it's kind of weird. I can't quite imagine, but I guess it might look something like this. This is technically hair. This is well executed, I think. Yeah. Entire skill? No, I haven't done it yet, actually. It would be nice to do it, actually. I haven't done it yet. I'll probably end up doing it, honestly. Okay, what am I not gonna do? Actually, it's a better question, right? I'm gonna call this the furry line. And this is like Western, sorry, this is all Eastern style. Every single thing here is pretty much Eastern style. I don't think there's like a Western style in here at all. The Western style differentiation is a little bit... It's a little bit more jarring, I think, because there's no transition. You just start off being somewhere here. Right, the Western furries. Let me see. What? Who's a famous one? Oh, like Crystal, right? This is a famous one with hair. This is a famous one with hair. I don't know, like somewhere here. I guess she's like here. And then we have Luna, which is kind of the same thing, but with actual like doggy legs, which is like here. And then we also have like I'm just bringing the big three in. The usual big three. The one that everybody goons to. And then Renamon's over here with even no hair. Western furries tend to be a lot more sort of taller. Eastern ones get like really short and like what is considered cute, right? But anyways, useless information. This will absolutely be on your test if you're still a student. Oh wow. Let's see, optimize canvas real quick. Yeah, Western furry styles are a little bit not as good, but the recent like this is the most recent design of like most recent popular design, I should say. There have been a lot of other ones. They tend to be a lot more cuter. I mean, the older ones, it just depends. I'm not sure. And also, most people think of furries, they think of fursuits, right? I'm not gonna put fursuit pictures and thing on my board. I think I'm okay with not having that in. But anyways, what are we talking about right now? What are we talking? That blue thing, dude. You gotta be careful. This is the original sort of Gunnar bait for furries. This is the original Gunnar bait, and then the next one is Renamon, and then we have Luna from, I think, Hell of a Boss, or like, what's the other one? Has Been Hotel. I think it's like the same universe or something. I didn't watch the show. But that's Papa once in a while. Oh man, the furries are gonna chew your ass up for this. GG. But anyways, I don't like it either. Line's kind of boring. I'm gonna come back and finish writing this nonsense. Thingy with outline. Might want to go for embroidery. It depends on intention. Looks a little simple, maybe. So slightly more rendering. Looks very uncanny. Yeah, 100%. I think the uncanniness is, for me, the eyes. Like big eyes like this, I kind of hate. I hate it on all sorts of art. Like, you know, like those sort of semi-realistic looking, like human art. With like just slightly bigger eyes, like those things creep me up a lot. Like either you big eyes, but you have to do anime eyes, or you do small eyes and like you do realistic eyes, but like properly proportioned. Otherwise, it's kind of cursed. Eyes and mouth. The face shape, I suppose, is also a little bit jarring. Would you rather look at this face, or would you rather look at one of those creepy pasta faces? My god, I used to be so scared of those creepy pasta faces. And then now I'm just looking at it and I find it kind of funny sometimes because it looks scary, yes, but also kind of interesting because like how did they get someone to do that? Like kind of interesting. No problem, show. Let's see, border or no border? This BB is chained with the scar situation, so these guys are over here, right? These two are together. And then eye versus hair, soft edges. Soft edges is rendering, is under here as well. Confirm solid colors with no lines. Try more blue. That one has nothing on this board at this point. Slightly more rendering, that is this guy. Add the textures to lines. Right, textures to lines. Did I not ping? Maybe over here. Maybe like this, like textures on lines. I don't know, like what the hell is that for, but it's fine. Eye color is also just more impact in general. And then along with eye versus hair. So these guys are together, but they're not necessarily related to anything in particular. They're just sort of separately confirmed during this iteration, during this round of iteration. Shoujo, big furry dog, is a bit etchy. He is so effing blue. Shoujo anime with a big furry dog, really high anime, a bit edgy. Okay, let me send the exact same thing you typed into ChatGPT and ask it to find it for me. Let me see if they can find it. Very interesting. Searching for big furry dog in shoujo anime. Searching facebook.com. Okay, it's saying that there is a anime called With You, I'll Lurf Will Make It Through. Let's see. Did I have a board that's open? Why is my Roblox open? What the hell? This is what ChatGPT suggested. Is this it? Actually, yeah, these ones are kind of cursed because human body, animal head. Like Beastars did it as well. I didn't like Beastars just because of that. Like this is so off-putting for me. This one is really bad. The scenes are insane. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna pull this into my board. So I want to see where it is. It would be like maybe like here-ish. Because animal heads are like so distinct, right? Yeah, I guess these guys still have like human-ish faces. Over here we have slightly more animal-ish faces. Huh. Interesting. Scenes are insane, okay. Is that like a synopsis? Yeah. Synopsis. A form of deep. Oh my god. It is interesting to see though. It's quite rare, I think, like female furries. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't really found too many of those. Referring. These kind of romantic seems real. Like, how is that working? Oh wow. Okay, sure. You are very innocent. That's all good. There's always room for more learning, of course. I'm also kind of interested though. Like, how insane is that? How crazy are we getting? Okay, before we hop off here, there is still like one more thing I have to do, which is what I think about this one. Slightly more rendering, textured edges, noise, more shadows, more forms. More shadows, more forms, more layers, right? More layering. More stuff. More colors. The textures, normal lines, 100% opacity, larger gaps, confirm solid colors with outlines, try more blue. It's actually less colorful than before, I feel like. Okay, wait, hang on, sorry. There's less impact overall, just because the lines are a little bit... concerned with slightly, with line thickness. Look, thick before coloring. There's a bit of a relationship here with the lines. In the black and white version, it felt like the lines were too thick, because like these were like super thick. But obviously, if you change the color of it, then it starts to lose its impact and this and that. Now all of a sudden, it feels like our lines are not visible enough. But I'm gonna have to delay this so that I know I can take a feel for it. Sorry, what? I'm just gonna feel it tomorrow, I think. Is that an artist that you're recommending a show? AAAPAIR. This is a nice artist. Look at that. I'll say Antro Kimono is just as weird as say Elf Orc. That's why I don't get the stigma from people who enjoy Lord of the Rings. They're equally as weird, like talking trees. Oh, I see. Yeah, I think most people's exposure to furry, it might be like more sexualized stuff. Just because like there's just a lot of bad press, I think. From freaky people doing freaky things. And then setting the tone for the entire fandom as a result, right? That's why I wasn't really sure like how people review this kind of art that I'm doing with the furry Ria. I think it's kind of appropriate, I think, for her. Like wholesome, kind of like soft, fuzzy kind of vibe. And she can be a little bit more expressive than usual. Also, you know, the big added benefit of this, by the way, is that you don't ever have to draw clothes. You save a lot of work on having to render physics, because this just works. Also, I realized that this part should not be wide. That should not be see-through here, because the hair should be there. Easy fix, but... I kind of like this, actually, the artists that you shared. Oh, I am following them, never mind. Because it's a very nice balance between big shapes. You can see like big jacket, big pants, big jacket, big tail. But then if you look closer, there's quite a bit of like textured, like hard edge textured kind of details in them that doesn't break up the form too much, right? It still stays as a whole form. Everything stays as a whole. And then, but if you go in and you look at it, like you feel that, oh, look at the roughness, look at the noise, look at all these different patterns. Like it's very nice, but nicely balanced. Very poggers indeed. This is, I think, the style that we want to work towards for like the painterly ones. We want to do big shapes because that's fast, that's easy, and it's very much more pleasing to look at for me. Because the more you break things up, the more intense it gets. And I don't want it to be that intense. So I just need to figure out you know, the workflow and the kind of brushes that we want to use and the specific balance that we need to maintain when we're painting, because you're painting at this, like you zoomed in and you need to, it feels different than you zoomed out, so yeah, it's a lot of work. But yeah, this is a pretty good idea of like where I want to be, I think. Look at the comp too. Oh shit. I really like this lens flare. It really ties it together, I feel like. Maybe if like the back was just slightly brighter or something. But I think it might throw the balance a bit off my news. Elves are normal humans, sorry. What is it? I think elves are pretty normal, similar to normal humans, or at least I haven't seen any of the straight to far. Elves might be a longer story. Let's say furry. Yeah, I guess maybe furry is just like more out there because they're like less human looking. I don't know. I feel like as a kid, like you're taught like more right and wrong. So the way you view things is more right and wrong and more black and white. But then you grow up and you realize there are all these cultures that actually normalize fucking animals, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I suppose. Like like it's kind of crazy, I guess, right? But like they're like humans too, so I guess like it's like what? Like just, you know, I don't know, like it's things get really muddy. Like everything becomes super gray, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, okay, you know what? People like what they like. It's like whatever. Yeah. I don't like it. But you know, as long as it doesn't concern me, I'm not gonna think about that. I'm not gonna worry about that. Not my problem. Are they just like dumping these out? Like, what is it, July 2nd? July 10th? July 30th with 2? With 3? With 4? Okay. So like a week at most for like these. A week or 2. A week and a half maybe on average. Yeah, it's like kind of crazy. What else do I have concerns with? I think just not. I think lines are. I think just like that. Rendering too much work. Rendering too much work. Rendering too much work, maybe not. But I think the brush texture might need some iteration. It looks fine. Hang on. Very Sigma people grow up with Lion King and other literal pharaoh romances. More exposed to it. Well, I mean, like, I think people are more caught out on the fact that people are dressed up in like fursuits and having sex like that. I think that's probably like, I don't think it's like yeah, I don't think it's like the character on character kind of thing. I think it's like people dressing up or people on animal or like just other more generally more degenerate behaviors out in public. Probably those things, I think. Anyways, regardless. We be wholesome. Rendering effort, rendering to show promotion. Counter sequence is not active, not available. Clustering, design texture. There's two things that we kind of want to try still. There is the embroidery texture. That's number 1. Oh no, actually that's just one thing. Hang on. Because the other thing that I wanted to deal with is just the fact that I forgot to render this, which I'm just going to paint over on top. I think I'm too lazy to deal with other layers and stuff. Yeah, it's more than that show. I'm not sure if you're aware. You can take a look at the... I can send you a link. It's not safe for work. But it's like a... I don't know if you're aware of this person called Internet Historian. They make kind of funny videos about actual stuff that happened as like pop culture and this and that. Which included the furry fandom. And you can see like what kind of crazy stuff they did. Oh, maybe you're aware of this, but regardless, since I'm talking about it, I'm gonna share it anyways. Alright, where'd it go, dude? What? Where is it? You what? Where'd it go? What? Here it is. Copy link? Copy clean link? What's the difference? What's a clean link? That's what it is. You can watch the video for all the degenerate behaviors that people did, but like in general, it's just like more, shall we say, dirty kinks. Anymore, I think it would be not safe for work. It would be like not safe for work amount levels of detail, which I don't want to get into. Anyways. Yeah. Womp womp. Womp 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 womp. Man, this is kind of hard. I kind of have to deal with it on the actual things because You know what? I'm just gonna take the L here. I'm gonna take the L and just do this. But, like, because there's noise on it, and there's the seam on it, and then there's, like, the fact that at this angle, you'll be seeing, I guess, the underside of this. So you see the seam kind of go into it, or even, like, maybe go around it. Like, it's not as little work as not just a little bit of change, I don't think. And just take the L and do that. The other thing that we want to do, other. Oh my god, where's my eyes? Where are my eyes? Says the artist. Yeah, I agree. I hope people... Regardless, I'm doing this, I'm probably gonna dump it all on like a different page anyways. But yes, I do agree, like there shouldn't be... Where are the line art? You? Bro? Where is it? Oh, it's here. Okay, I need my names, man. I need EL here. EL, EKL, that's fine. And then I'm gonna lock the lines only. In the past, I like doing the rake brushes, and then I would do it in 2 directions and then erase. Where the hell? Okay, I think I need to find my other layer. So it's just too fine, maybe. Yeah, if you do like this, and then you kind of erase it, this kind of has like a little bit of that sort of embroidery texture, right? Because it's about having like these threads that went back and forth by the sewing machine. So you kind of have that sort of effect just by doing this. It is very not noticeable, so I don't even know if it's worth it. Because like, if you're just perceiving it at this scale here... I realized I turned off the lights. But anyways, if you're just perceiving at this scale here, like, it just serves the purpose of sort of lowering the contrast on it, so I'm not really sure if it's worth it. Like, this has more impact from this scale. Otherwise, it just looks a little bit fuzzy. The other one would be these guys in here. I don't think I ever spend the effort to actually render the correct directions and stuff. Yeah, it's no different from noise like this, unless like the angle is very marginal. Angle changes very, very little. But yeah, it just lowers the thing. Oh, maybe something like this. If it's like this, I mean, it's just texture, right? Hang on, what about the noise? Maybe get rid of the noise. Maybe this will be a bit better. Then it will actually stand out. Because I don't actually know if I want the noise here. Actually, I should make a note of that. Actually, no, I do kind of want the noise. Everything is too smooth otherwise. Yeah. Embroidery texture. Right, we can expand this and then expand it to the scars and the blush as well, like all of these things. They can all kind of have some new life in them, like this. Although this artifacting is maybe potentially annoying, but... Yeah, it just lowers impact a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I really like the diamonds too. Chinese fursuits? Are you talking about like a different type of design? That would be the kimono versus the Eastern style debate. Oh, not a debate, but like pretty much like that's what it is. Yeah, it's just in general, like Eastern designs are more appealing for me. Just because they focus more on the idea of cute. Rather, I should say like their idea of cute. Like it's more in tune with my idea of cute, because I guess the Western furries are going for cute too. With their uwus. Yeah, I feel like there should be some way to like be a little bit more bold with the line colors. You know what I mean? Like right now it's some purple, some this and that. I feel like we can kind of go crazier. You know, like it doesn't have to conform to anything. It could just, as long as you have enough here and there, it doesn't need to make sense, but it will look a little bit more natural just because it seems more intentional. But this is kind of a... Oh, right, I need to fix that too. Come on. Wow, holy shit, get good, man. It kind of sucks. Oh, wait, this is easy fix, actually. I just do this. Yeah. Why does it look like that? I don't know. Something isn't applying correctly, but I think it's fine. I don't really care. Right. I don't know if that's... I never really thought about that word in that context. Hello, Fiji Ocean. Yeah, embroidery texture is a bit weird. On the eyes, I think it's fine. It's a little bit more tame on the eyes. But I think if you want to apply it, might need to be applied slightly differently. And the IY itself as well. Where is my thingy anyways? Is it you? Yes, Fiji Ocean. I've been doing furry for the past few streams just so that I can sort out... Oh, what the... Some designs. Some stylizations, and this and that. Does YouTube not allow us? Possibly, I think. But yeah, also like if you see like the notes over here, we have a lot of notes. Fiji Ocean on like the actual stylization. So all the artists that are collected for reference. And then all the dimensions of a style, like line character, line presence, colors, and everything. Everything has an example. Has a green for what we want to do. Has a red for what we don't want to do, and the reasons why. And then as we go through the different pieces, so I did one piece before. What the hell is it? I did one piece before. I have some thoughts on it. And then as we go through, we try to resolve the things. And then try to make notes to see, hey, did we resolve it? Did we not resolve it? Like, this technically didn't really resolve it. Where the hell is my... Oh, it's on my other screen. Why the hell is it on my other screen, dear bro? I think this is, like, actually what the stream is supposed to be. Like, style development, right? This is developing a style. Slightly more other... This one is definitely a step in the right direction. This one I'm not sure. Confirm solid colors with outline, not sure about scar. Alright, this is fine. Add a texture, yeah, this is also fine. It's just whether if we can go for more is the concern. And then over here we have more thoughts, and then of course I'm gonna wait, and then we come back. Yeah, it looks like it did filter the word show. Only I can see it, but it's not on stream. Oh no, never mind. It's just delayed for me. Never mind. It's interesting. It delays. Like you guys got a delay. I got a delay. Everybody gets different delays. Our source of different delays. Looks like they don't care, which is nice. What was I doing? I forgot. But anyways, is there any other notes that I want to... Embroidery texture, yes, definitely not sure. It is interesting. I'm gonna hold. We're gonna push it here. Under this. embroidery texture, line texture. What? Where? Here, line texture, and then the coloring textures. These are all pretty deliberate this time around. Embroidery lines, sequencing, fabric eyes. Really. Colors. Overall vibe, separation. Yeah, that's fine. Rendering sequence, that's fine, I think, too. Particular. Terminator. Only if we need more colors. I think we're creeping it a little bit too much into actually sort of rendering too much territory, I think. This one thing is the chest. I added some extra lines this time and it looks nice. I want to be aware of that. No, it's over here, right? Oops. Yes, thank you, Show. See you soon. I'm also hopping off. I am just wrapping up. I think this is fine for now. I would like more colors somehow. And then all these are fine. Like, if it's just that if you want to put in like lines like these, right, it lowers the values, right, like that, because now you, all the pixels were previously white. Now some of them are gray, so by definition it's gonna get a little bit darker. And that kind of sucks because I can't really cheat it. This is already... Oh, this is not pure white. Never mind. I can cheat it. Hang on. I thought this was already white. I guess it's not, but I can do that. It will lose its color, though. Because right now it's kind of blue. Because pure white is... Oh. Pure white is kind of intense. That's why I only saved the pure white for the highlight. It's the only part that is pure white. Everything else is not, but... Anyways, this is it for today. I will go think about... wow, we have no shortage of these sketches. Yes, I am definitely a big fan of crispy textures. We have no shortage of these things to render if you want to render one. Yeah, I like this one. This one is a slightly different challenge because this one actually has a background. I want to set the tone of it to be a little bit darker. And this gives us our first real opportunity to be a little bit more colorful, because without backgrounds, it's kind of hard to push colors in one direction or another. It's not to say that it's impossible, because there are people that do that. Like over here. This is how you can do it, right? But this is like, I think this takes a special kind of mind that I do not have. But if the background comes in, then all of a sudden we have the overall tone of it, like what we use to represent darker colors. Kind of like the one where Ria is kind of steeping as well, like this one here. What the actual darkness is, and then what the light color is. And then we can maybe play with a little bit more of materials. Actually, maybe it'll be interesting, because we can say like, hey, the eyes are kind of reflective or something. I don't know. It's like Spicy Straight is why having fun while drawing looks like possibly, yeah. I would say so. The requirements drop by a lot in terms of trying to maintain sort of like continuity with personality, this and that. Like those things are out the window 100%. And we only worry about some of the technical stuff that we can do. So it is quite different. It is quite a lighter load. And as long as we're drawing Ria, and as long as we're pushing we're still doing style development like this and gaining experience this way, it is justified, right? So, interesting. Oh my god, so interesting. Wow, so interesting. I might extract the color palette from this one, but regardless. It's not even Nekomimi, it has to be furry, it looks like. Through trial and error, it looks like we're going back to drawing furry art. Come on. It's hard to shake your roots, I suppose, but... I do also like the ability to... I mean, it's only because I choose this medium of a plushie, but otherwise, like, we could still go crazy with the hair. We could still have slightly more rendering, this and that, but yeah. It's interesting as we get more stuff. I'm probably gonna push this even further because there are a lot of opportunity for, say, outlines or like this and that, but let's not overdo it for now. Anyways, I'm gonna hop off here. Tomorrow we would do more of something. I'm not sure what. If I have the energy, I would like to start planning out the next more complex piece because the existing one is done. And then I can try to push the boundaries that way too. Did I extract out the photo? I think I did, right? Where'd it go? Oh, where'd it go? Oh, it's over here. Pieces, OCs. Yeah, it's over here. Where is this over here? And then where is this over here? Very cool. Sorry, wait, that's insane. Wait, like you still managed to draw a thin and angular furry versus a round and... is that right? I mean, this is usual sketching, right? So usual sketching is about long, thin forms. I'm not so sure necessarily about angular. I don't really think of it as angular. I just think of it as easy to draw because it's straight lines. But because this one over here, the requirements is that she is of a certain material for a specific sort of target vibe. I take the extra effort to make sure things are actually round. Like all these tips are round because I envision them as round stuff. It helps a lot because I spent a lot of times doing some design earlier where I'm actually figuring out how to make the plushie. I'm actually thinking about the physical materials and the physical physics based on my own experience. And like what this fur here would be, how this would be done, how this would be done, how the inner structure is done. Because there is like a couple different things to concern with, right? Depending on the size of the plushie, the physics of the clothing works slightly differently. Because the cloth is only that strong. But if you're making like a small plushie, the cloth when folded into an angle might be strong enough to hold the shape. Versus if it's big, it's definitely not going to hold the shape, right? If you look at the ears on the Lucario plushie, it's actually just like a solid chunk. I don't know if... Okay, this is getting into more like sort of adjacent design work. This is not drawing anymore, but... Like the Lucario plushie ears, like if you look at it, it's a solid chunk, right? Because if it's big like this, it's not ever going to have that... keep that shape that well. But if you want to have like an inner side, that means it's a piece of fabric that's folded, then you need to have foam in the ears in order to hold the shape. And then including these big pieces as well. Like all these are like the fur represented. This is like a big piece, big chunk that you will sew on just like this. I don't know where the seams are though. These seams are relatively doable. I'm missing the seam for the arm here, but these seams are... I don't know how viable this is. I don't know how this part looks, but yeah, the hair as well. The hair is a big mystery for me. I don't know how it works. But some of these things are... yeah, I thought about it that way. I also wanted these folds here. Because this is the only way to really show that it's soft, right? Because how else are you going to show a material is soft? Unless you actually fold it and show it. Even the legs and the seams here, I'm contemplating like I should have broken this up so like there's like a fold here because the material here is being compressed. Because it's not like this is human skin, right? It's not elastic, so. Oh my god, I'm getting glazed so hard. The only thing for line art that I'm thinking of is, so if I'm sketching, right, there's a natural tendency to make certain lines thicker or like thinner. Where is it? There's a tendency to make certain lines thicker or thinner just because as I'm sketching, I start off with thin lines, and then as I'm overwriting the thin lines, I start to get thicker and thicker and thicker because I want to see the lines that I want to keep. So it ends up being kind of thick. But line art wise, the line weights in the specific stroke is not necessarily controlled too hard. I am just using whatever setting that I have on my brush, and I'm just letting my hand do this thing. Yeah, I mean, glazing is one thing, but if you're noticing the details, that means you're also picking stuff up for yourself, you know? It's saving yourself the work, to having to try it, I guess. I think that's like the biggest thing, like going to art stream. You can get like someone else to draw something and try something, and then you don't necessarily have to put in the time. But in that way, but I guess, yeah, point out things. Yeah, that's great. I think that's great. Always welcome. Always fine. Yeah, this one I have her ordering fabrics for herself. This is like a roll of fabric. It's kind of short, actually. This would be slightly longer, I think, proportion-wise. And then I want to bring in my other character. So you know how we were talking about the scars and stuff? This character, who, like the fox character, who is meant to be like this sort of fashion kind of character, I can just make her the one that's good with like a sewing machine, right? So she can be the one that makes like a new body. She can be the one that makes clothing or make accessories or make like... I was thinking of ideas of what to draw, right? If Ria likes food, I can make her eat hamburgers and shit. But then she's obviously not going to eat a real hamburger. So she can have a... she can have like a plushie hamburger. But someone's going to have to make the plushie hamburger. So she can be the one. This fox can be the one that does it. The one whose name's on the name tag? The ones whose name's on the name tag? You mean like the tags that I have attached to Ria's ears like this? I don't know what to write on the tags yet. I think it makes sense to write her own name. I just don't know how I feel about always having the... This is the other one. The other one is it? Oh. Yeah, I have the... Hang on. This is the one that's dead. The big, thick... Big Booba represent character is no more. I don't know if the name tag is the one that you're talking about, where I gave her this tag when we were talking about like the Hong Kong design stuff on her chest, like a pin on her chest. I don't know what name tag you're necessarily talking. I can't remember if that was anything before. Oh, actually interesting. I was thinking... Oh! Ah, yes, you're right. Yeah, the hidden name is her name. The one that's scratched out. Oh, well, it's not really scratched out on purpose. It's just kind of... Oh. Where is it? It's over here on my sheet. It's right here. The backside, the one that's unreadable. This one is the character that died. It's this big chunker. I need to make her thicker. She's not thick enough. Like these boobas are like at least like 3 times larger or something. Maybe not 3 times. 3 times seems kind of ridiculous, but like Faye needs to have a decent size just because of her backstory. But like hers need to be bigger. On top of that, thicker legs and this and that. Yeah, more design, more work. Even small, yes. The target height is that she's 1.4, possibly smaller. But she's older though. It's just because of her species. She's tinier. So this is target 1.4 meters, and then Ria's target is 1.6. None of these are 100% confirmed, but thereabouts, I think. Like I'm just kind of setting arbitrarily thereabouts, and I'm getting a feel for it, and it feels fine. But yeah, it's all good. You can send the crying emoji. I actually don't know their proportions just yet. Ria is the one that's meant to be a little bit skinnier, right? This is big chunky. Faye's proportions need to be like the so-called perfect hourglass because that's her design. And then this character actually might not be so thin. She might be a little bit chunkier as well. She might be the short kind of like chunky kind of type, but it wouldn't be that chunky though. Only just a little bit more than this. Definitely not like Ria with like straight tubes for legs. Ria's design is meant to have like just straight tubes for legs because it just like has no meat. hers is just short, right? But with meat, right? And then this and that. But anyways, like the specifics and this and that, or just leave it to yeah, and see how things go. This is so interesting. Ah, shit. Yeah, but the fur length is different. Yeah, it's different. It's different. Yeah, I think I repressed these a lot because this is not how Ria is supposed to be in my head. Like for her sort of canon sort of vibe. I never know her to be this sort of whimsical or like happy or like so bright and cheerful and so silly and this and that, right? Because the mood of everything has always been very depressing and very sort of real and like heavy. That is the tone of the original story idea. So we can't allow for stuff to happen like this. In that universe, it's not to say that no one will be like that, right? There will be characters like that, but it'll be very rare, right? For very specific reasons. Not everyone gets to be goofy, for sure. That's why this is so much easier to draw, because these things are your typical sort of anime-esque, like moe kind of vibe things. And you have unlimited ideas for these things, right? They can do all sorts of goofy shit, and you don't have to justify why they're doing it. And that's why it's so much easier to draw it with this ridiculous form, because I know that it's not going to be canon. I know it's not going to work. Although Duvet did bring up something interesting, is that this doesn't have to be canon in the sense that like she has this form that she can transform into, but it could be like a different artistic representation of her under a specific state of mind. So maybe she sees herself like this, or maybe some other people see herself like this, you know. And then in that sort of, in order to portray this of how people see her and how people perceive her, we can draw her in a different, like less realistic way. I think that is a very interesting way of thinking about it, of setting it up. Because Dubé brought up this anime where this girl would turn into like a very chibi-fied version of herself whenever she gets home. I forgot what it's called. But, and I thought that was interesting. That's very interesting. Oh, wait. I have the link. Wait. I saved the link because I was like, yeah, it's probably as useful. It's over here. If you want to take a look at what Dubé shared. Well, I found it, but like Dubé shared the title. This link I found, and I think it's the same one that he was talking about. But anyways, I will have to hop off here. We'll see what we do tomorrow. I am enjoying this, so we might just keep pushing this. I might push for this. Oh, right. Sorry, one more thing I want to write before I go. I've been wanting to write this for a while, I just keep forgetting. Locked in my inferior country. Oh. GG. One more thing I wanted to account for is that the lines were a little bit too boring. In the sense that it's just a one clean straight line, right? So too clean, much time. So I'm still trying to figure out like where exactly we're drawing this, because I really enjoy seeing this. This is kind of insane to me. Like this is so nice. But there are issues with this because the fur representations that we have already, the texture and the lines we have already. So the only thing left are like the double up lines in the same direction. But the main place it's being used is for fur and hair. Neither of which we have a lot because it's just meant to be fabric. So it's not like her hair is actually hair. So I don't know if it's doable. But in general, we could also just have looser lines like this, so I spend less time drawing lines. But if I am okay with drawing thick lines, I can definitely do thick lines fast, even if it's clean-ish. Just because it's easier to join up and stuff. So it's like all kind of up in the air. I'm not 100% sure yet. It would be nice if we can spend even less time on the lines. But that also can come with time, right? Like with more proficiency and more sort of hand-eye coordination that way. But regardless, this is it for today. I'm gonna put the screenshot here. So we're a little bit closer. But anyways, thank you guys for coming. For sure, the virus. Always here when you have the time. Lol. Yeah, the embroidery is kind of messes up that balance a little bit. Oh, I could put the embroidery things on the entire line art. Okay, I'm gonna make a note. Anyways. Yeah, the diamond highlights is not justified. Why are the fabrics so shiny? Anyways, have a good night, guys. Thanks for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.